Hi everyone, so we're super excited to be speaking with Kash Pashootan today, the CEO, founder, and driving force behind Emblem Developments. Kash, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thanks, Sehr. Great to be with you.
To start off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know you come from an investment management background and have many years of experience managing assets, risk, and identifying opportunities for high net worth individuals and their families. How is this experience of yours from the financial world tied into your new endeavors?
Sure, yeah. So as you said, I've spent the last close to 25 years managing investment portfolios for wealthy families. And so in that, you spend a lot of time uncovering opportunities in different asset classes, stocks, bonds, real estate. You spend a lot of time managing risk because, as we all know, opportunity doesn't really matter if you don't manage the risks that come along with it. So we've over 25 years gained a deep experience of identifying opportunities, managing risk, and really executing, right? I mean, that's a big part of all of this as well, is executing. So the established track record, the reputation, the financial backing that has is all being brought forth to what we're doing at Emblem, which we're obviously very excited about.
Right, and Emblem Developments is one of the fastest growing real estate development companies in the GTA. Your current portfolio consists of over 3,000 residences and $1.8 billion of development value. Can you talk a little bit more about the history of the company and where you see the trajectory of Emblem going?
Sure, yeah. One of the things that's unique about Emblem is that it has the financial backing from our investment management business. So compared to a lot of other developers, we have the advantage that we don't have to raise capital or find investors when we do a project. That capital is already on our balance sheet. So First Avenue, or I should say Emblem, has access to close to $1 billion of liquid available capital, and that puts it in a very secure and stable financial position. As a result, we've been able to be one of the most active in strategically acquiring development sites, especially over the last few years. At this time, we have 2 years worth of sales launches already set. And obviously one Jarvis is the next launch that we're very excited about. But no, look, I mean, everything we're doing with Emblem is predicated on all of the same principles that I've been living by and using in founding the investment management firm called First Avenue. And we're in this for the long haul, right? And having that financial backing has allowed us to really do things the right way at Emblem without cutting corners, whether it's designing a building, whether it's executing on a building, whether it's the consultants we work with. I mean, if you look at any Emblem project, we truly work with the best in the industry for every single part of the project. And it's also been really important for us having the resources to be able to go out and hire some of the best professionals in the Toronto development industry. When you look at our VP of construction or our VP of development, our director in finance, I mean, these are all very well-regarded professionals that were at other top firms. So again, having that deep financial backing combined with our passion and our vision has allowed us to attract some of the best talent in the industry as well. So our view or our pipeline and our vision over the coming years is continue to develop buildings that we believe today buyers are more informed and educated than ever. And a developer that spends a lot of time on details, on design, on quality of finishes, we believe buyers can tell the difference. They can see the distinction. So that's really what we pour our heart and soul into every Emblem project when we do one, is to create that distinction where it's very clear that there's been a lot of consideration from everything from layouts to the design, amenity spaces, finishing qualities or materials. And I think where this all leads to is, as we execute on this over time, we believe there's an opportunity for Emblem product or Emblem units to trade at a premium in the secondary market, which of course bodes well for pre-construction buyers.
Right. And speaking about the company's future, let's switch topics and get into our upcoming development. One Jarvis is literally in the heart of where a major shift is happening, along with a $140 million redevelopment of the waterfront and $400 million being invested by Bell into digital infrastructure. There's the $500 million entertainment hub that's coming as well. Can you speak a little bit more about this road and where you see One Jarvis fitting into this master plan?
Sure, yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, for the last 25 years, we've spent time uncovering opportunities. And when you look at the real estate development market, Emblem today is active in a variety of markets. We have 4 buildings under construction in Ottawa. We have projects, as you know, in Hamilton, Mississauga, downtown Toronto, Leaside. And when I look at all of these markets there, where we see the most significant appreciation opportunity, it's in Hamilton. And the reason for that, there's a variety of reasons, but the single most prominent reason is the unprecedented amount of government investment that's going into Hamilton. And historically, anytime you invest alongside the government, you tend to do very well. And you see that with other asset classes. When the stock market's not doing well, the government steps in, stimulates the market, and it goes higher. Real estate is really, it's no different. So the fact that, as you mentioned, there's more than $500 million being invested from the government. There's about $400 million from Bell in terms of what they're doing. It really, there's no other market in the GTA that we could put our finger on that's receiving that level of investment, especially from the government. So Hamilton to us is very opportunistic. And look, talk is cheap. It's very easy to say something looks like a great opportunity. It's a whole nother thing to use your balance sheet and write the check. So where One Jarvis is located, within a 5-minute walk, Emblem has close to 1 million square feet under development right now. So we really do believe in the long-term opportunity in Hamilton. And I think, again, that speaks well for One Jarvis buyers, because this building for us will really be the showpiece of what our future projects we will be able to point to and have buyers say, this is the standard you can expect from Emblem.
That's great. Hamilton has consistently had one of the strongest rental markets in the country over the past few years, with data backing up the urban exodus theory in Ontario. Average rents in Toronto declined 17%, while cities such as Hamilton are seeing annual gains of over 15%. Why do you think Hamilton is so separated from these other outlier cities?
Yeah, look, we know that there's been a move to the suburb markets, right? Last year was the first year the 905 outsold downtown Toronto, and a lot of that is affordability. Even pre-COVID, we saw that there was buyer preferences moving to the suburb markets. So you're seeing some of that continue to play out. But I would say the most simple and compelling sort of response I can give is, when you look at some of the other suburb markets, for example, Mississauga, the price you pay for a unit is considerably less than the price you pay downtown Toronto, but the rent you receive is not the same discount. So the price to rent ratio is more compelling in the suburb markets than it is downtown Toronto. And when you look at the suburb markets, the most attractive rent to purchase price ratio is actually in Hamilton, because the prices have not yet started to really take off. So when buyers are thinking about Hamilton from an investment perspective, or wondering where prices are going to go, I would point them to looking at where Mississauga was 3-4 years ago and how much prices have gone up there, because it has a lot of the same similarities as you would see, for example, in a Mississauga. What I would say about One Jarvis that's also interesting from a rent and price appreciation perspective is, with One Jarvis, the finishes that we're using on the building on the outside and on the inside will be exactly the same as what we did on Artform, which, as you know very well, was the project we launched in August. What's exciting or opportunistic is buyers at One Jarvis will get the same finishes for about $200 less per square foot. And so buyers can see a clear path to how their purchase will appreciate over time, because they have an example, a proven example, like Art Form, for example, with the same finishes that's selling for over $200 more per foot. So that upside appreciation potential, we feel Hamilton is right in that sweet spot where it's not too early, where you're waiting a long time for the developments around it to happen. And it's not too late where it's such an established market, which is, it's great, you know, everything, all the amenities are there, but a lot of that upside appreciation has already taken place.
Yeah, and Hamilton's traditionally been known for manufacturing and steel production, but it's quickly becoming known as a leader for tech talent and advanced innovation and technology. Was this also one of the reasons why you guys decided to go into this market?
Yeah, listen, you're right, absolutely. And we saw that as well. What's really interesting about Hamilton is the downtown Hamilton area that's receiving the $500 million. One Jarvis is right in the middle of that. And buyers in the One Jarvis project will be able to, within footsteps, access the best entertainment, the best new restaurants, the best new shopping. And as we're seeing the downtown build in the Hamilton area, what's unique is that downtown in Hamilton is not going to feel like a downtown in other suburbs. We actually feel that the downtown in Hamilton will feel more like a mini downtown Toronto, because you're not bolting anything on. You're starting with a fresh canvas. So I'll give you an example. We talk to, obviously, restaurateurs as we have different developments for commercial spaces in our buildings. They're very excited about Hamilton, much more than other projects we have in the suburbs, because there's just an understanding that Hamilton's downtown core will have more of an energy to it, more of a vibe to it, that's not really family oriented, right? And I don't say that in a bad way. When you go to Mississauga and you go downtown, Mississauga, you know, you have the Boston pizzas of the world, and there's nothing wrong with Boston pizza, but you know, these franchise or multi-location areas are great for families, but they don't have the same energy and the same vibe as when you go downtown Toronto, where there's one location of that restaurant. And you're seeing more of that type of environment in the downtown Hamilton area. So we're very excited about what downtown Hamilton will become. And to your point, it's attracting tech talent, entrepreneurs, young professionals, all of that is, and they feed each other. When you bring that type of buyer in, then the restaurateurs want to be there. When you have the restaurateurs, you bring that kind of buyer in. So it's really working very much in sync with one another, which is a beautiful thing. It's creating a very sort of great vibe, like I said, that reminds us of a mini downtown Toronto at half the price.
Got it. And is Emblem planning on just developing this one building, or is One Jarvis the beginning of a larger presence here in Hamilton?
No, we definitely are doing other developments there. As I mentioned to you, we see this as a very opportunistic market. Within 5 minutes of One Jarvis, we have about 1 million square feet of residential under development, which would be 3 more One Jarvis buildings. That's roughly what it would equate to. So not only do buyers in One Jarvis have the government investment helping prices go up, not only are there other developers doing projects in Hamilton which will help prices go up, but Emblem personally is going to accelerate price appreciation with every launch that we do in the future of the project's land that we already own that we're developing. Every launch, obviously, prices will be higher. And so that bodes well for buyers that are able to access it at this level through platinum brokers and real estate advisors like yourself that obviously we have a great relationship with.
Right, and One Jarvis seems to have a much higher standard of quality compared to other developments. What is your vision for this building, and what trend do you see this development starting in the area?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because, we could have come to market here with a very basic building, much lower cost to us as a developer, but it's just not who we are at Emblem, as you know. And we've been clear from the beginning to set a new standard in any community that we go into. We did that with Art Form, and we're going to do that again with One Jarvis. So for us, we don't actually build for the neighborhood. We build for our own standard, and we won't compromise on that. So this building, from the exterior, from the outside to the inside, will have finishes that are only found in buildings with a much higher price point. So when you look at this building, for example, there will be no stucco used on it. It will be all brick and stone, glass, floor to ceiling windows. All of the kitchens will be European designed with full slab backsplashes. Not only will it not be curtains in the showers, it will be glass, but the glass will be floating to have a completely airy, unobstructed view. So there's a lot, to your point, of standard finishes that are well above what the expectation or the norm is. And a lot of that is really what Emblem stands for, and our brand and our reputation with any project that we do. We're not looking at doing one project and maximizing profit. At the end of the day, we're a business that's in this for profit, but we take a long-term view because we know every project we do, especially if you're doing work that differentiates you from others, that's how you start to build a unique reputation. So absolutely, buyers can expect a higher standard than what's been seen in Hamilton, and we're going to have that with this project and every other project that we do.
Yeah, buyers are definitely very excited about this development. I did want to bring up that there was a condo in the area that was recently canceled as a result of issues that came up during the zoning and city approvals process. What is Emblem doing differently to ensure that this doesn't happen here?
It's a great point. For us, managing risk, as I mentioned from our previous life, is a very important part of what we do. So I'm proud to say this project is fully zoned. So there's no uncertainty that buyers are taking. There's nothing that we're presenting here that may later have to be changed. And in addition to being zoned, the carry-on warranty is also already in place. So we're ready literally to sign deals today if we choose to. Obviously, we're waiting a couple of weeks before that happens, but that's all ready to go. And that speaks to really our wiring, our focus on how we manage risk. We're not going to bring something to market until we feel confident that there isn't any zoning risk. And that also, this idea of managing risk also gets into the actual execution of a project. When we were thinking about launching Artform, it was February, March of last year. And that was really, as we know, the beginning of COVID. And we knew nothing about COVID at that time. Thankfully, since then, there's been a lot of progress and we're starting to slowly see a path to the end of this. But all that said was, as we were planning our launch, which was going to be in the summer, we didn't know if we could actually even launch with sales based on this virus and if people were leaving their homes or they weren't. So what we were going to do was, and it was the first time to my knowledge that it's ever been done in Toronto, we were going to start construction and actually build the condominium without having any pre-sales. And this again goes back to talking about risk and working with a very well-capitalized developer, is that we have the financial resources to actually build the building with no financing. And so that's important for buyers to know that this thing is gonna get built no matter what. And obviously it ended up that we were able to go to pre-sales because we were allowed to leave our homes and the virus wasn't as deadly as we thought when it was first launched. But my point in sharing this is we manage risk on every front. So this building is fully zoned, carry-ons in place, and from an execution perspective, financially, there's absolutely no issues in being able to do that. In fact, Artform is already under construction for buyers that purchase in that project, and they can see that, really that execution is already underway.
Right, that's great to hear because it's not common for development to have this type of financial backing and to be fully zoned when it first launches. So this is really what does set Emblem apart from other developers. So Kash, with your experience in the financial world, what advice would you give to somebody who might be on the fence right now about investing in pre-construction, maybe waiting to see if the pandemic is going to get over or wanting to invest in the stock market? What is your advice right now?
Yeah, so some of the things I would say that I think are very important is any investment you're making, it's not for today, right? The life you live today is because of the investments you made 3, 4, 5 years ago. And the investments you make today are for the life you're going to live 3, 4, 5 years from now. So don't look at the pandemic and think that should hold you back from making an investment, whether it's in the stock market or in pre-construction. The investments you're making today are going to be for 3 to 5 years out. And so separating the noise of what's going on right now and taking a longer term view, I think are paramount in any asset class that one is looking at. In terms of the stock market compared to pre-construction, I mean, obviously we're actively involved in both of those asset classes. I wouldn't say necessarily one is better than the other. I think they both are important as part of a well-balanced portfolio. The advantage pre-construction has is that you can really take advantage of leverage, right? So if we use a very simple example, let's say $300,000. Well, when a buyer buys a unit for $300,000, because they're only required in most cases to put 5% down in the first year, 5% of 300,000 is 15,000. And so with a $15,000 investment, they have a $300,000 investment that's actually working for them. You don't get that same leverage or that same upside when you invest in stocks. So if the value of the condo goes up, let's say 10% next year, 10% of 300,000 is 30,000. On your 15,000, you've just made 200%. So it's a very powerful way to grow your net worth because of the attractive deposit schedules that are out there. So I think that is a major contributor to newer investors growing their wealth because of the fact that the amount of capital you outlay today relative to the investment you get exposure to immediately is so attractive.
That's great insight. In relation to sales, our team is definitely seeing strong buyer demand and consumer confidence for pre-construction developments to the first few months of 2021 as well. Kash, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. I know anybody watching is taking away a ton of valuable information from this. Do you have any final thoughts or words of advice on securing a suite in this development?
I guess final thoughts would be that, you know, as always, we're pleased and to work with you, Sehr, and your team. You know, you're yourself and your team are always so gracious and so professional and so organized. And you guys ask a lot of questions, which really shows that you care about the clients that you're working with, making sure you're handpicking the best projects. So we always appreciate that because we bring that same mindset to every project when we're designing it and constructing it. So no, we're excited about this. We think everybody involved is going to do very well. We think Hamilton has been on deck for a few years now, and right now is really the time where it's the spotlight is going to be on Hamilton with the government money that's taking place here. So we're excited, and I guess the last thing I would say is that buyers can have a lot of confidence that what we're going to bring to market here is going to be a very special project. So we're excited to share the details, and we'll have that to you shortly to share with your clients.
Amazing. Thank you so much once again for taking the time. We look forward to the upcoming launch.
Thanks, Sehr. Good to be with you. Take care.
Okay,
We're good. I
messed up 2 questions. Can I just say them again?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't need to be there. So it's question 11, and then this N one I stumbled as well. So I'll just quickly redo those.